Hello, my name is Juan Tang Hon. I am an artist, illustrator, and also an art educator. And today we're going to be making a paper lantern. The Mid-Autumn Festival is a harvest festival that's celebrated in many cultures like China, Vietnam, Taiwan. And during the Mid-Autumn Festival, paper lanterns are generally used for decoration. They're usually made out of different things like different kind of paper, and they use wires and stuff. But for this project, we're really simplifying it, and all we're going to use is paper, and we are also going to use scissors, glue, and that's basically it. Optionally, you can also have a ruler or some tape and maybe a paper, some pen and pencil. Once you've made your paper lantern, you can use it to decorate your house. You can string it up, you can put all of them together, and it would look really festive. So for our paper lanterns, we're also going to be cutting paper to decorate the inside of it. And this is inspired by the Mexican folk art, papel picado, which artisans use a mallet and a chisel to hammer out different kinds of motifs and illustrations out on paper. But since we're not going to be using a mallet or a chisel, we're just going to be using the scissors and to be cutting the paper into different floral patterns. So Philadelphia is home to a lot of families from Mexican, Chinese, Vietnamese cultures. And so I think bringing it all together is a great way to knowing and learning about your neighbors and learning what a little bit more about each other's cultures. So here are the steps we're going to take to make the paper lantern. So first step is to choose your 3 papers. For a lantern like this, I chose 2 red papers and then 1 yellow paper. For this lantern, I'm going to use 3 different ones, this red, green, and blue. So once you have chosen all your 3 different papers, put one aside. I'm going to put the red one aside, and that's going to be this curved part of the lantern. Okay. And then with these 2, put them together, and then we're going to fold the bottom part. About maybe like 3 or 4 fingers. It doesn't have to be super precise. We're going to fold it together. If you're having trouble with the folding or making a straight line, you can use a ruler and maybe a pen or pencil to mark it. Okay. And then we have it folded up. Now when you have them folded up, choose one to also leave aside, and that will be the color on the bottom and the inside. Okay, so I'm going to leave this one aside. And then the last one, we're going to cut the fold that we just made. Should I wait for it?
Oh no, keep going.
Okay. So now that we've cut this, we can put this aside. And then with this paper, we're going to fold it like a book 1 time. So fold it in half. And here you can actually start cutting whatever you like for the flowers or any other designs you'd like. You can also sketch it out first to be sure what you want to do. So I'm actually going to use a marker so you can see it more clearly. I'm going to do a flower in the middle. And don't be afraid to mess up, because you can actually glue it this way and you won't see anything that you wrote before, that you drew. So we're going to do this. So I've marked where I'm going to cut after. I'm going to add more. Okay, here we go. And this is what I drew on this side. There's nothing on this side, so when you're going to cut these, it's going to cut the other side too. So think about symmetry and what you want to reflect on the other side too. And now it's time to unfold it. It's gonna look like this. And you can actually look at the back of it so you don't have to see all the marker or pencil or pen that you used. So grab this sheet and then glue it on top of the other paper that you did the fold with. And then you're going to glue it above the fold, so don't go over the fold. And then we're going to use some glue. Here's the fold. Try to align it. And then just hold it for a couple of minutes until it's dry. Turn it, fold it. So you have two folds like that. And we're going to use the scissors to cut straight lines from the bottom to the top and stopping at this fold, okay? So don't cut it all the way. We want it to be hanging off the paper. And the little strips of paper can be also as wide or as thin as you'd like. They can be also just like 1 or 2 fingers. And once you reach this last one, we actually are going to cut it off. So only this last one. Put that aside. Okay. And now that we have something like this, you can see the folds and the little folds on the bottom. And then we're going to add glue on this fold to glue on top of this like this, okay? We can hold it for a little bit until it dries. And then for the bottom parts, we're going to add glue to the little folds on each one of them. And when you add the glue, we're going to glue it on top of this area. So where the blue paper cut that we did earlier is, we're going to glue it on top of that. So we're going to leave this bottom part empty. And so it should curve up like that. And so we're going to do that with each one of the strips. Okay, now that it's all glued, you want to give it a couple minutes for it to really dry. You could even start another one while you wait for this to dry. But you really want this to dry because the next step will involve a lot of turning of the paper and rolling it. And so it really has to dry. So now that it's really dried up, we're going to start rolling it, almost like a tube. And then notice this last section where we cut off the strip. This will be relevant to put the glue in after. So for now, let's just try rolling it into a tube. It will be a little hard sometimes, so you kind of have to curve it kind of like that. That's kind of the end result. I like to kind of bend the paper a little bit so it will be easier when I put the glue on. So this step, you might have to hold it for a while. Something that is helpful, but you don't really need to, is you can put some tape on it while it dries. Here I have some tape over here, so that's what I'm going to do, to put the tape over it. And the inside too. Like that, and we're just going to leave it to dry. And now we are at the final stages. The glue is dried and I took off all the tape. And the final touches you can do is so you can add a handle with one of the strips that we cut off before. We can add it over here or here. So I'll put some glue. And these handles will be useful if you want to string them up together or if you want to hold them. One last thing that you can do is also grab some scissors and then cut into this bottom part, because a lot of lanterns have strings at the bottom or like tassels, and so they will kind of flow together like that and look a bit more like the iconic lanterns that you usually see. Like that. And you're done.